And we are here live on Out of the Box podcast with my legendary co-host, the Mystic, Bradley Powers, and our special guest, Cassidae Lightwing. How are we doing today, guys?
Good. Looking forward to getting this episode done. So,
I guess you got, from what I understand, you got a lot on your mind that you want to go through today. So,
well, there's like a list of points that I would like to go through. The only one that's really important is the first one, which is the process of what I do, exactly how I do it, and why everyone else can do it too. After that, just loosey goosey.
Okay. Well, we'll start on that point then, so we can get that message across, and give you time for you to put it out there the way you want, and for everybody to understand it.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys doing this for me. Really, really do. All right, so the very first point I want to go over is just a rehash. The regular viewers already know this part, but for the newer viewers, I am not an alien. I was born in Denver, for fuck's sakes. What I am, however, is a step on the way to what you guys would call first contact. This is part of the contact process. So I was born to a human mother and a human father, but I myself am not human. And I have proof, which I'm working with some trusted people on how to best disclose that to the world. So I do have proof of what I'm saying. Okay, but there is no spaceship. I was not an alien. I was not from somewhere else, and they came here. Whatever happens to you guys as a planet will happen to me, right? I am among you. I am of you. The thing is, so are all the others, right? All the other visitors that are part of the Ashtar Command. We take on the responsibility that what happens, your fate is our fate. Do you see? We are all in this together. So basically, what this is all about is that this stage of first contact has a lot more to do with spiritualism and Native American and indigenous beliefs and whatnot. And the first stage is consciousness. And what that has to be is essentially we come amongst you and we live as part of you, and that allows the others, what the UFO crowd will call Sky Crew often, that allows Sky Crew to kind of tune in to the planet's radiation. And once we can sort of allow for the two different kinds of radiation to coexist through technology, then they can make first contact.
Well, to me, that makes sense. Whereas they can experience what we experience, and have a knowledge firsthand. And right. as far as your DNA is concerned, that's proof in the pudding right there. As to your DNA itself, to attest to the fact that what you say is the truth. Am I right?
Yeah. Now that doesn't prove who I am or where I came from. That's still a leap of faith. But the thing is, on that one, I'm not claiming to be like some great person. Like I was a nobody back home. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not claiming any kind of greatness. So I don't see why people would have a problem with that. But some people do.
Well, you're basically just here on a mission, like anyone else that's in this field, trying to get the word out to
exactly.
others to gain some knowledge on basically what it's all about.
Exactly. It's like I'm not here to like be the king or any of that nonsense. All of us here are here, which are, by the way, classified as EBEs or Ebens. Okay, all of the Ebens that are here, I mean, like they all have their specialty, but they're not here to be the guy. There's only one the guy, and if you're Christian,
they're all here they're all here for a purpose.
Exactly.
And that's to enhance mankind if it's at all possible.
I would say rescue mankind.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that sense, I would agree.
Yeah,
in that sense, I would agree. Especially the way everything is today and the direction in which we're heading. Very quickly, I might add.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that really sort of eats at us is, during the age of Atlantis and Lemuria, your people were like the pioneers, the cutting edge of this technology. And now you're damn near back to the Stone Age, So it's not so much we're here to teach you as remind you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yeah, in
that's
other
why
words, it's kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. They don't want to directly intervene unless they have to. They realize that we're free will spirits, and they don't
yeah,
really
that's the
want
whole
to
point of
force
this
us into doing anything. Right,
right there. That is the whole point of this planet is free will. There are
right,
only 3 planets known in this galaxy that have any sort of free will, and the other 2 are not as free as here. You know, well, the other 2, you're still bound to some sense of purpose. Here, you are literally your karma is in your own hands. You know,
right.
that's pretty unique. I would like to speak to the Andromedans at some point. After like the crisis is over, I would like to know if they have a similar world in the Andromeda galaxy. That would be cool to know. But yeah, that's the whole point of
I,
this
w- I
world
would
is free
think that
will.
they probably do.
I
Yeah,
hope so.
it's just
I
my
hope so.
opinion, but
Like I said, I don't know enough about the Andromeda galaxy to even hope. To even have an opinion. Aha! But I can hope. So yeah, I've actually never spoken to Andromedans on any level. I've spoken to visitors who've spoken to Andromedans. Lots of you guys who have been abducted, consensually or not, by Andromedans. But I've never spoken to one myself. So
yeah, well,
I don't know.
yeah, I myself, I'm connected to the Zeta, and I mean, I can only,
Yeah,
you know, relate to what I'm getting from them, but yeah,
right. Well, see,
so,
that's the issue with everyone. Like the various contactees, or star seeds or whatever. We only have that perspective. We're supposed to be working together. You know.
right.
Now, I have had the pleasure of speaking to Zetas once or twice, but not enough that I could claim to understand them. I just
Was
got a
it was
couple
it a
questions
was it a
answered.
positive experience for you?
Oh, very, very,
Yeah, it's been a
absolutely.
positive one for me. Yeah,
Yeah, the Zetas never meant any harm in the first place. I mean, as a whole, obviously there are individuals, but so they never meant any harm in the first place. It was really nice.
David Nash says Andromeda is an entire galaxy. It would be like calling us the Milky Way Wayans.
Or if, well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's how they identify themselves. So, you know,
Claudia Maria's with us. Hi, Claudia. We got Candy in the house. Hi, Candy. Hello, David Nash.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I
well,
did like.
no matter how you look at it, it's a hairy situation because
yeah,
um, there's no there's no surefire remedy to this as far as planning goes because it's got to be more or less hit or miss. I mean, the multitude of the situation makes it nearly impossible to do it in a diplomatic manner
yeah.
where everyone involved would understand what is really going on.
Well, see, that's the beauty of the whole thing. We only need to reach less than 200,000 humans. We don't need to reach the whole planet. Once we can reach that, that number less than 200,000, then we all know what I'm talking about. Um, basically that will create a wave into the consciousness, and once the human population as a whole allow for the possibility of what's happening in their minds, the rest can fall into place. So that's why I'm trying to contact people like Laura Eisenhower as the keeper of the treaty, which I didn't even know about the treaty until I started doing these shows. By the way, like I knew from my end there was an agreement, but I didn't know I didn't know it was a presidential treaty. I mean,
Right.
that still seems a little
One
far out to me.
one question I would like to ask you is, with any of your information, have you acquired any information about an upcoming planned false flag event involving an alien invasion?
Yeah, quite a bit. And that's one of the
Yes,
reasons why we're in a rush, because we need to
that's
get
what
the
I've got from
information
the
out.
Zeta. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
basically, we need to preempt that false flag, or things aren't going to go like we want them to. They
Right.
still won't be too
Exactly.
bad, but not like we want
And
them
that's
to.
exactly the reason why the powers that be are planning a
Right.
false flag invasion.
That's why whoever it was erased me, like Bob Lazar. They're doing everything they can to stop what's coming, the awakening,
Right.
or at least control it,
Right.
harness it, if you will. So, well, The thing is David Nash's Laura was in our group for a while. That's cool. You know, I sent her an email once. See, I don't know what the protocols are here. I understand that if you go too far, you're stalking. But so I don't know. So I send everybody one email and then I leave it the fuck alone. So
Yeah. Well, you can let some time, go by, and then it won't hurt to try again. As long as you're not
well,
sending them an email every day.
well, that's why this time I've asked. What I did was I asked people who I've helped to send her an email, and maybe by doing this the proper like Lyran way, maybe that will work. You know, because trying it by human rules has blown up in my face every single time. So maybe this time doing it my way will help. I have a theory on that. I have a theory that humans can sense there's a discord or some kind of deception, but they can't figure out what it is, so they get hostile. And in that case, the deception, the issue would be I'm not doing this the right way by my people. I'm trying to do it
Right.
your way. So maybe this time it'll work. So basically, back home on Malakwa, what it is like I'm going to say cookies. I'm going to use the example of cookies. If you bake a damn good cookie, right, and you want to open up a cookie shop, you don't advertise your own cookies. That way leads to vanity. You give away your cookies for free. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yes, we did have an exchange system. You know, but so you give away your cookies for free, and then if your cookies are good, what the other person's supposed to do is say, "Hey, these are some cookies. These are darn good cookies." And then you get
Yeah.
enough to
Well,
open
word
your
of
shop.
mouth is the best advertisement there is.
It depends. You know, they say that. I've not been able to harness it properly yet. But then again, I am a dumbass. So,
Well, no, I just think with what you try to do, it's not easy. Number one, but the thing is to never give up. And the way I always look at it is that things will fall into place when they're supposed to.
exactly. I'm just the best you can do is try to be ready for it, which is what I'm trying to do. You know, the thing is, it's not about me. That's the main thing. It's not about me because there are thousands of other EBEs out there. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is so that they can understand it's safe to come out now, and the
Right.
world needs you to come out now. You know, like the people that we're working with, the very honorable and reputable people that we're working with on the disclosure of this, like even they agree I should be anonymous. You know what I mean? So it's not about me. It's about everybody.
Right.
It's about you guys at home. It's about the polar caps. It's about everything all linked together. You know, the trick is getting people to see
Candy
it that
saying
way.
she's having deja vu right now.
Was it the same cat?
I've shared the show 50 times, 51 times. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
That
Appreciate
must
it.
be a record of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've tried to contact pretty much everybody that I could. I sent everybody one email and I let it go because I don't want to be like stalking. And I don't know if this is true, but what I've been told is when I'm really intently trying to reach someone, like if they have a psychic friend or whatever, or if they're a psychic themselves, it feels like they're being hunted. And that's not the impression I need to be giving people. You know what I
Right.
mean? So just one email, back the hell off.
Marianne's with us. Hi, Marianne.
Hi, Marianne. And for those of you guys
Hi
who
there,
saw,
Candy Fowler, Marianne Clark, Donny Randall. Hi there, Donny. Long time no see. And Marianne Clark from Ghost House Paranormal. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And this is our guest, Cassidae Lightwing, and he's going to share some insights about himself.
well, not just myself, but the situation. It's important that people
So,
understand like where I come from and who I am. But beyond that, it's
so
about
my question,
everything else. Yeah.
you're covering the first one. What Cassidae does exactly, and how you can do it too.
Right.
That's what
Okay.
you're
So,
covering right now, Cassidae.
all right. So I've said before many times, I'm not psychic. Now, people have assumed that I'm pulling their leg. I'm not. All right. The part of the brain that handles psychic activity was crushed in, along with the language centers. This is one of the reasons why I have so much trouble communicating. All right. So now that being said, I rerouted the energy use systems through other part of my brain, but primarily what I utilize is the spiritual aspects. I let my pineal gland see the raw energies, and then I have to interpret it. You see what I mean? So even though I am not psychic, people will still see my presence in the astral world. Now, at some point in the future, we'll cover the different, levels of hyperspace and subspace. But that's what caused the confusion. Like, I thought you guys were talking about like literally the astral vibration, and I can't reach that. That's too far away. So, but now we know, and now knowing is half the battle. So here's the thing. The way all this works is, whether you're psychic, whether you're using magic, whether you're using hyper technology, whatever, whether you're daydreaming or reading a good book, how all this works is it affects your brain waves and the way that your brain waves interacts with the energy fields around you. Now, when I'm talking about brain waves, I'm talking like alpha, beta, delta. These are scientific things you can look up yourself. These are literal electromagnetic waves that your brain puts out into a field around you, called the cognosphere. Okay. Now the thing is that your brain can affect bands of light and radiation that are not visible, that, believe it or not, go both ways. As far as in vibration, hyper vibration and sub vibration. Okay, so getting your own brain waves to sort of tickle that vibration, that's where the magic or the effects happen. In my case, the way I have to do it is I affect things on a higher vibration and let it trickle down. But other practitioners like Bradley and Jim operate from this world. You see what I mean? So different practitioners and different sources of these things utilize different ways to do it, but they're still doing the same thing. So what we're trying to do is sort of bring people together and say, hey, look, whether you're a witch or a wizard or a warlock or a psychic or a whatever, this is the fundamental physics of what you're doing. And in this way, we can all share knowledge. You see what I mean? I've been teaching humans what I do individually for 2 decades, very, very, very successfully. Many of them have gone on to have great careers in quantum healing and Reiki. I can't accept money because of the mission, but that doesn't mean you guys can't. Go for it. Use Nasara. But I can't because I got to prove that it doesn't need money. You see what I mean? And by the way, I figured that out. Bradley, in the last few months, I figured it out. See, humans are aware of the equal exchange law of physics. So when you don't ask for money from people, they think that they automatically go, okay, so where is the equal exchange you're getting? And I'm suspicious. What are you getting from me? And I've been solving that by pointing out that my reward for what I do is spiritual. But once they understand I have a reward, they're okay with me not charging money.
Right.
So it's been good. It's been good.
Cassidy's various proofs and his ultimate goals and plans. What are they?
Okay. So number one, I've operated my technology under medical observation numerous times throughout the decades. Very, very numerous. My own body has been witnessed under medical observation doing what it does. For example, the MRIs and whatnot reveal I have extra sinuses that you don't have. I have extra parts you guys don't have. Not mutations either. Like actual, like legitimate symmetrical parts, like they belong there. That's why I keep telling you guys, under the skin, the difference between our species is obvious. More than that, I am in possession of things like MRIs of before and after of what we can do, and that part, I'm trying to get more of those. But the thing is nobody that I help wants me to use this information to get rich, and I agree. So how do you share this information without? How do you share it without like make it look like you're trying to harness the glory? You know what I mean? I haven't figured that out yet. Yeah, but most importantly is the genetic report, and that's the big one, and that's the one we're working with to try to get disclosed. But again, I'm just higher evolved. No, trust me, I'm not. If evolution could be counted in, for example, one of the good measurements in speed of neural speed, I'm slower than you. Like my nerves work measurably slower than a normal human's. I'm just different, not higher, lower, just different. You know. Now, part of what
Donnie Randall said he's learnt a lot since he's been away. Well, good for you, Donnie. Life's about learning. Life is a game of chess, and it's how you play it. And life is about learning, and absorbing information and turning. If you take that information that you've learned and use it to apply it to your everyday life, you can enhance your life. That's called wisdom.
Yeah. I've been trying to keep an eye on you, Johnny, but you have a really good knack for disappearing on people. I just hope you're doing good, bro. But yeah, so
Jim, are you familiar with Donnie Randall, Jim?
Pardon me?
Are you familiar with Donnie Randall, Jim?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
he's a longtime viewer, good friend. He's
Oh,
helped
yeah.
me through a lot of hard times. Yeah.
We've known him
So-
for many years.
Yeah. We're glad to see you back. So now the reason why my body can do these things and other starseeds can't is because the way I entered into this world, like I said, I fucked it up. You know what I mean? So I had to alter my own DNA to be able to sort of handle this environment. Now, on the upside, I can heal very fast. I like if they try to come, like, you know how whistleblowers get killed? They can't. They try, they fail, but that's also a source of a lot of head injuries. They've tried many times. So on the upside, I could survive that, but on the downside, I don't understand you. Do you see?
David Nash says, yes, life is like chess. I don't know how to play chess.
I'll teach you sometime. We could do an episode. I'll teach you guys. Ooh, root canal. That's rough, bro.
Donnie Randall says, I'm doing well. I just had a root canal.
Vic is with us. Hi, Vic.
Hi, Vic.
Hi, Vic.
Now, speaking to the altering one's own DNA. Now, granted, I was able to do it faster because I have a lot better technology than you guys have. But you can alter your own DNA from within your own chakras. Now, that's the important part, right? Like if you watch these shows and say, "Hey, I want to heal like Cass," then do it. Choose to do it. I've said before, one of my all-time favorite shows was Stanley's Superhumans. They highlighted people who had, in fact, spot altered their DNA to be able to do what they want. The Monkey Man is the best example. Overnight, he changed his DNA. It can be that fast. You guys can do it faster than I could if you let it. Humans are so much greater than you guys believe. You are infinite. And I'm just Cass.
Cassidae, Marianne Clark is asking, should she leave in case she starts again? Or
No.
Or just keep watching without comments?
No. If she starts talking again, let her talk.
All right.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit, but I can take it. I'm a big girl. So yeah, but that's one of the main points I wanted to get is there are various methods and techniques, but you guys yourselves can alter your DNA to be able to essentially accomplish whatever you need. Like if you want to be a light worker, but you don't have the talent, choose. Your DNA, even though it's literally trillions of different molecules scattered around your body, they're all connected by the same. I'm trying to remember what the physicists call it now, but it's by the same force that proves that we are all one. I can't remember the physics for now, and I'll probably remember it later. But basically, they prove that if you split an atom, then what you do to one atom affects the other. So basically, scaling that up to the molecular level is possible. It just needs more energy. Then scaling that up to the people level also possible.
I guess it's like a chain reaction. Right?
Yes.
Vic Makarov says,
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Vic Makarov says, once all your chakras are open, you can develop your own awakening.
Yes. Then that is the primary difference that separates ETs, like advanced ETs, from humans. They teach kids how to do that when they're young so they can find their true path. And it's
Marianne
like we learn that in
says
kindergarten.
her channeling was in full gear last night on this live.
Oh my God, yes. And for those of you who saw I want to shout out to Marianne real quick. we talked after the show and we got it worked out, and she was right on every single point. And I even showed her Char's painting, and Marianne was like, "Oh my God, that's what I saw!" So it was pretty cool. Marianne is the real deal, guys. And for those of you who doubt and like, well, if you're the real deal, what are you doing? Marianne helps me find lost kids. Okay, Marianne finds lost children. Enough said. If you require proof beyond that, I got this itch right over here on my ass that could use some kissing. Okay, was that too dirty or was that funny? In my head, that's hilarious. Now, Marianne has saved children. She is a superhero. Period.
Yeah, Michael Ann Gilpin has also saved children as well. Quite a lot of psychic mediums have.
Oh, yeah.
What's Michael doing? Has anybody heard from her?
No.
No. She wasn't in good health last time I spoke to her.
Yeah, she was at the hospital.
Yeah.
Holy crap. The courage it took, that was inspiring. Like, that makes me want to be a better dude.
Marianne says thank you.
No, thank you, sweetie. She says, no, not a hero, just trying to help. See, that's what makes a hero, sweetie. That's what makes you a hero. If you go out seeking to become a hero, you become a villain. So, although it should be noted that the word hero in the ancient Greek refers to both villains and good guys. So, just pointing that out. Food for thought. So yeah, that's what I wanted to get out. You know, I'm not an alien.
Basically, you can't have a hero without a villain, right?
That's true, and the literary people would agree with you, even if it's like a man versus nature situation.
Right, exactly. You know?
Yeah. David says, yeah, Superman was a humble dude, and Batman. See, what makes Batman a better hero than Superman is that Superman doesn't have to do that. Superman doesn't have to kill because he doesn't have to. He's not in danger at any point. Batman is just a guy. He's a guy with technology, but he's just a freaking guy. You know what I mean? So the gentleness, I say gentleness while he breaks bad guys' bones, but he doesn't kill them. The vow to not kill is so much more valuable coming from Batman because he is in danger. Every time he goes out, he's putting his life in danger. Superman, shoot him in the eyeball, he don't care, you know. And by the way, that's what makes humans bigger heroes than us EBEs. Our bodies can do shit yours can't, so we're not in as much danger. You guys are the heroes. Like, for example, if somebody popped in here right now, like dudes in baklavas popped in right here and shot Cassidae in the forehead with a silver bullet, I'll be okay. I'll just pop up somewhere else. You guys are in danger, not me. You know, that's what makes you guys heroes. You have weathered this storm, and you're still coming out on top. Humans are amazing creatures, and I wish you could see yourselves the way we see you.
Newsflash, I asked Michael Ann Gilpin. She said she's got suffering with blood clots. Has she had the vaccination? And she says yes.
Oh boy.
I know what she said yes to. All right. Okay. For those of you who are longtime viewers, you know the drill. For those of you who are new.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't talk about it.
No, dude. Healing always comes first. Always. Even if we're live. You know what I mean? Because you never know if somebody's in physical, like you don't know. Like Michael, she could get a clot go to her brain while we're talking about a clot going to her brain. So it's fine. Anyway, so for those of you who are new, what I want you to do is look through the triangle at my forehead, okay? And whether you're a believer or not is irrelevant. Just all I want you to do is just take a second and say, and just wish Michael well. Now, if you're a light worker, awesome, put it through the triangle. If you're praying for Michael, awesome, put it through the triangle. I'll explain what I'm doing in just a second. Thank you. And yes, I can feel it. The more of you add. Okay, now for the first things first, the hand motions are not necessary except for the triangle. They just make me feel cool. They make me feel like Doctor Strange. And as Jim would tell you, like self-confidence is everything when you're doing this.
Right.
So I'm like, superhero Cass. It's totally unnecessary. It just makes me feel cool.
Belief is a must. That's right.
Exactly. Now the triangle thing, that's called a mudra. Now what a mudra is it's guiding the chi energy of your body, which is an actual, like, scientists know about this. It's a real scientific thing. They guides the chi energy through your body in certain ways, which has certain effects, which, like this one, what it does is it amplifies and concentrates energy. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. David says there were no October surprises, by the way, for every psychic that said there would be one. Sorry. I might not be using the right inflection, but he has a point. But yeah, no, politics is screwed right now.
Well, your son is here. Raymond Lightwing says hello, everybody.
Yay, Ray's here. Okay, so I think that's it about that first bullet point. The whole thing is, we're here. I'm not the only one by far. I'm the dumbest one by far. You guys are greater. You can change yourselves to be whatever you want and believe in yourself.
That's the key.
was
The
the main
belief. Belief. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bradley, that's why we always had lightning in a bottle. All these other shows want the audience to believe them. We don't want that. We ask the audience to believe themselves. We tell them a full
that's
story, whether they believe it or not.
We was talking about that earlier. Esoteric hours always operated on those values. Don't take what we say as gospel. Research it yourself, and then you can validate and clarify the words we are saying are binding. But you need to discover this yourself. And question number 3 I have for you, Cassidae, is the reptilians and the Alpha Dracos, the difference and why anti-reptilian hate is unwise.
All right, that's very important, and I want you guys to know that a lot of the stuff that I say here it could be controversial. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Those of you who can, ask Akasha. Go to the Akashic record. Look for yourselves. So now, there's 3 different reptilian races that I'm going to be talking about right now. One of them is a native race to this planet. Right? They are your sister race. Okay. And that's the serpent people. I'll be talking about them later. The Dracos and the Alpha Draconians is the main thing. Now, what people need to understand is these are not 2 different words for the same entities. These are 2 radically different things, right? Now, we'll start with the Alpha Dracos because they're the coolest. The Alpha Dracos are biologicals. Now, that must be understood. They are biologicals, right? Now, they're psychic, so they can project to bodies and whatnot here, but they are biological entities, right? Now, humans say that the Alpha Dracos are huge, but to us, the Alpha Dracos are really little. So I don't know what to say about that.
Yes, they're 50. They're 15 to 20 feet tall. They're quite huge monstrosities.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, they were bigger than me. I was a runt.
If you meet one, your best thing, a form of defense, is stand there. Don't run. If you run, you'll become food. You're best to clear your mind and stand there. Show no fear, and they might show you some respect.
Basically, mental defiance, because they're going to try. Because if you find yourself head to head with one of these fuckers, they're going to try to put the cult on you with their light. Don't let them.
Vic is asking, how far advanced are they compared to humanity?
Well, the Alpha Dracos, believe it or not, are not very advanced at all past humanity. They are a little more advanced. They're, like Battlestar Galactica level, you know what I mean? Which is like lower than Star Trek, but above us. Like they have planetary travel and whatnot, but they're not type 1. They're a type 1 society. Thank you. Yeah, check out the card. If you want to know what I'm talking about, look up the Kardashev scale. And that's what ranks societies. Earth is a type 0 society. That's not an insult. It's better than type -1. Now, the serpent folk are basically roughly the same as you. They have a different technological base, but they haven't left the solar system yet either. It's the Dracos you got to worry about.
My question for you, Cassidae, is the serpent folk and how they are not related to the Dracos outside of their genetic phenotype.
Well, like I said, the serpent folk are from here. And the serpent folk is a very generic name. I would like to use Naga, but that's a Hindu word, and I try to stick with Lakota words out of gratitude to the Lakota people. But yeah, so like first things first, they're here. Now they can shapeshift, but there's some question as to whether or not they're shapeshifting or projecting a psychic image. I think it's the latter, but I've never sat down with one long enough to actually be able to tell. But contacting the serpent folk and mending the gap between you and them is part of the mission. It's one of the reasons I'm in Colorado. Now the Dracos, though, that's where I want the ones I really want to get to. That's where you get your shape-shifting politicians and stuff. We are a 0.72 society. Okay, I will agree with that. You're almost there. So, no, but so that's where you get your shape-shifting politicians and whatnot. Now here's where the confusion is, and if you're a royalist, I apologize, but I'm about to say some things you're not going to like. So the thing is that the Dracos have infiltrated the planet going back at least 1,000 years, probably more, but I can't prove it. Now, this is not quite what it seems. I don't mean shape-shifting reptiles are here. The Draco are not biologicals. They're energy beings. We call them Loquogoth, right? You guys have heard of things like blue avians, the blue spheres. These guys are the opposite spectrum. Now, this is a balance point in the universe. For every high, there will be a low, all right? For every human race, there's an anti-human race. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just as we evolved into the blue spectrum, they evolved into the red spectrum. Now, that doesn't mean they're evil. It's all a matter of point of view. Are they running the American government? They're trying. But see, they fucked up. They should have said yes to Char's heart transplant. Now they're all going down. And folks,
Vic is asking, are they running the American government?
Well, like I said, they're trying. They're failing. But that's actually, by the way, one of my proofs. You notice, by the way, folks, I can get away with saying this, and they don't hurt Cassidae. Cassidae is protected by the treaty.
My question is, Cassidae, what is Cassidae's history, evolutions, training, and current activities?
Well, let me finish about the Draco first. That's a very important point.
Oh, sorry.
The major families, we've all heard of, like the Cabal, the 5 families, the Royals, all that stuff. They are human. All right. Now they're so goddamn human that they're starting to get deformed. That's actually where the point started. Well, I'm going to breed with you because you're a royal, because they knew they were not infected by the invading genetic lines. Whew, that was a tongue twister. So that's the reason why they started that crap. So the queen herself is not a Draco. None of your politicians are actually Draco. Right? Even the ones that are shapeshifting, that's a consequence of what they're doing, the worship that they're giving the Dracos. Now, what Bradley has said many times about the Dracos eating your loosh is 100% on point. All right. So what the Royals do is they utilize psychics, people who have spirit, people with medicine, basically anyone they can that can reach the beyond, and they will do rituals to that person and force that person to contact the Draco on their behalf. And they'll push these people until they're insane or dead. And that's how they get their instructions, and that's how they pass their worship back. You see? So they're in service to the Draco, but they are not Draco. That shapeshifting crap, that's a side effect. If you do this stuff too much, you absorb too much of the radiation. It starts to mutate your ass. So, that's a consequence of contact with the Draco, but they are not themselves Draco, right? And it's not even really a surefire sign that they're the bad guys, because it could be one of the Naga. So that's why the anti-reptilian hate is unwise. The serpent folk are on your side 100%. Right? They've been. They just also know you'll kill them with sticks, So they hide. And then the Alpha Dracos, they're slaves. They're slaves to the Draco. If you guys could free the Alpha Draco, they would be your big old buddies till the end of time. The only ones who are truly your enemy are the Dracos. And keep in mind, Lyran, so that could be propaganda. Doesn't Earth have a no interference collect? Go ahead. And go ahead.
Yeah, Vic Makarov says, doesn't Earth have a no interference galactic policy?
No! Ha! Thank you, Vic. That was one of the right questions to ask. Yes, there is a non-interference policy. One of the things that is like semi-known in the community is that Gene Roddenberry was one of the people taking notes there. He was working there. He was there in the room when Valiant Thor was describing the workings of the galactic, situation, and then he based Star Trek on what he learned from Valiant Thor. Not all of it, obviously, but the main beat points. This includes the Prime Directive. Earth is not protected by the Prime Directive because you are not a pre-warp society. In the times of Lemuria and Atlantis, you were a galactic people. That's why there's human colonies all over the galaxy. The fact that you guys got busted back to Stone Age by the comet is irrelevant. You are not a pre-warp society. At any point, humanity could decide to collectively wake up to your memories and just restart Atlantis. But that's why this war of consciousness right now is so important. The Dracos are trying to, you guys are all creators. You are all demigods in a way. And he who controls your zeitgeist controls the future. You see? So they want you to believe certain things and act in certain ways so that you'll create a hellish future for yourself that will allow them to mine the element 115 from the core, or 113, whatever it is, whatever the number is. So no, there is a non-interference policy. It is strictly enforced, but Earth is not protected by it. And that's why the Neberites were able to put the cult on your guys and institute the damn genetic virus that screwed up your brain function.
Vic is asking, was it a nuclear war that pushed humanity back into the Stone Age?
No, there were nuclear wars that happened before the Younger Dryas event, but what pushed humanity back into the Stone Age was a comet. Now, this was actually touched on in the CIA files that they declassified. They used some of the remote viewers to look into humanity's distant past, and they saw the moment. They saw the comet coming. They saw when the people saw it coming, and they saw why the people didn't try to stop it. But either way, the science of what happened is a comet struck the planet. It broke up into 8 pieces at least that we know of when it hit the atmosphere, and that caused the massive worldwide floods, climate change, etc. That's where you get legends like the various Noah's Ark stories from around the world. Those people had help to survive, but that was a real event. It was not a singular flood that all the water just went. It was a comet striking your oceans at close to light speed, which caused all the problems. So no, it wasn't a nuclear war, but that was the end game of the Neberites War. That was a strike. So yeah, not nuclear, but it was war. Something similar on Mars. The psychics talk about the toplet bombs on Mars all the time, and they're not completely incorrect, but I don't think they understand what toplet bombs really are. And what toplet bombs are gravity devices. See, that big black scar across Mars is what destroyed its atmosphere. It's what wrecked the planet, and that was the result of the toplet bombs. Now, there was also nuclear bombs on Mars, which they've proved. You can't even argue that now. That's done. They can see the fields of the right type of radiation and everything. But what really wrecked Mars was the toplet bombs that drew in the coronal mass ejection, and boom, done. Which is what's coming to this planet, which is why we're making this final push.
Yeah, well, like Marianne Clark says, a lot going on for thousands of years, a lot of destruction.
Yep.
And as we know, history always repeats itself.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's so problematic right now is what is starting to be able to be understood by the scientists is this planet's biosphere is slowly dying. When the comet hit, it destroyed something that was in the atmosphere that's no longer there. Now, there's a layer of the atmosphere that is super cold, even colder than space. What happens in the life cycle of this planet is that hydrogen got caught in that atmosphere, creating like a shell around the entire planet of basically suspended hydrogen ice crystals. Right. That's what allowed the dinosaurs to flourish. That's what allowed the planet's atmosphere to be dense enough for things like dinosaurs to happen. Well, when the comet came through, it ignited part of the atmosphere, and all that hydrogen, basically, the heat from the comet caused the hydrogen to. I don't know what the right science word is. I want to say metabolize with the oxygen, and that's what created the worldwide rain that every culture is talking about. The scientists know now how it happened, why it happened, and that there's some truth to all these crazy religions. They call
Marianne
it
says most seem to be man-made. Correct her if she's wrong.
most of them. And that's one of the reasons why I say you guys got to not judge yourself. You are a species that is suffering with very severe PTSD. What the Neighborites did while they were here is unconscionable. And generation after generation, humans and even some of us, pass that abuse on. So basically, humans are still enslaving themselves by the old Neighborite laws, and it's all just PTSD. Humans don't need daddy to come, space daddy to come down and give you a spanking. What humans need is a healing. Oh, the Lyrid Wars are absolutely still ongoing. Like I said, yes, last night, we are hunting their asses here. And again, I am the least. You should see my sister, Christy Martindale. Come on down. Yeah, Christy doesn't have the same. The other Lyrans don't have the same pacifist rules I do. But no, I'm a runt. I am the least. So, and if they can't stop me, what do you think they're going to do when my brothers and sisters get here? Basically, my group arrived in 1993. We'll go in. Yeah, we should go into that actually. My group arrived in 1993, and basically we were a scouting ship, or not even ship, fleet. What you guys know as the New Jerusalem mothership, that's us. That is us. That's not one ship. That is millions of plasma orbs all together as one, because we can do that. Answer, David.
Yeah, David Nash says history repeats. There will always be more comet and meteor impacts. Super Caldereras going off. Violent EMP flashes from the sun. It's always a matter of when will we get the warning in time the next time.
Well, we're trying to warn you right now. That's kind of the point. The next thing that's coming is this coronal mass ejection that even David Wilcock talks about. And it's coming. We're trying to warn you now. That's the primary purpose of the technology under Egypt, is to defend against the sun. That's why they call it the Disk of Aten. And I'm trying to peek up over the comment. Go ahead.
Yeah. Candy Fowler says, okay, so long story short, 3 of us in a cabin in the woods had a spiritual experience in which the ceiling opened up into what looked like the heavens. Much golden light and an unheard but heard sound of singing, the closest being a choir of angels. At that time, my boyfriend grew to about 7.5 feet tall, and his features widened out, which looked like a snake, Draco. And I saw things in a shadow form on the wall on him. This was before I was in Facebook groups and wasn't familiar with.
Was he a good guy or a bad guy?
Candy Fowler, me and the other person said to each other, oh, now we understand he's different than us. It seemed natural at the time. It wasn't scary. It was actually beautiful.
See? That's what I'm talking about. Now, that brings up a very good point, though, Candy. And I'm not sure if your guy was a good guy or a bad guy, but it does bring up a good point. The Dracos, even the Dracos, when they actually come here, want this freedom. They want it. All right. We've had Dracos on the show. You guys just didn't know there were Dracos, So the thing is if we could just come together even a little bit. I'm not even talking like a world peace kind of thing. If we could come together just a little bit, we could get past all of this, and that's again why the anti-reptile hysteria is a bad idea. Because I mean, what do you guys want? A Draco to come here, see the light, change their ways, and then get chased off by the fear? That's not a good idea. Yeah, Dracos generally don't, but that doesn't make them bad people. I want to name a name. He's a really good person, and he's a Draco, but I don't have permission to name him, so I'm not going to. But he's been on the show, and he'll be on the show again. No, the Dracos are not soulless. Sorry, I keep jumping ahead. It's your show, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. Go ahead, answer it. Are the Dracos soulless?
No, they are not. They can seem soulless because their souls are relative. Like, okay, so if the blue sphere beings are here on vibration, you guys are like here. The Dracos are over here. Like, so like the highest emotion, the highest consciousness that they can experience is what you guys know as your heart, as your green chakra. Their highest form is your middle ground. And that's another point I want to make to you guys as humans. Your middle ground is pure love. Give yourselves a chance. I promise you won't be disappointed. For every Charles Manson, there's a Jane Goodall. I promise. It's just that the Jane Goodalls don't get enough press. Okay, next question.
Yeah, Cassidae's history, evolutions, training, and current activities.
Yeah, that's important because that goes to the credibility. Okay, so I want people to understand that I did not know I was Native American at first. My grandma kept that secret. My grandma was, understand this was not bad. My grandmother on my mother's side. Now, for those of you who've read the attacks from my aunt where she says, I'm not Native American, I'm Irish and Portuguese, she's leaving out, that's dad's side. Okay, that's why it rings true, even though it's not the whole truth. So my grandmother grew up in a time when they would take your kids just for being Native American. They'd take them. They would just take them. Jim, back me up. You probably remember that age, right?
What's that?
When the United States government was still pounding down on Native Americans and taking their kids and shit.
Oh yeah. They got a raw deal. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So my grandma hid the fact that we were Native American. She dyed her hair blonde. We're Mexican, she would joke. You know what I mean? So for me, the whole thing all began when I was going to school here. We have here in Colorado, we have like Native American Appreciation Week and things like that. And I think this is the first time I'm going to tell the story live. So just bear with me for a second. It's not going to make a whole lot of sense. So the natives from the local, tribes and whatnot came to the school to speak. And there was a moment I was watching them, and the shaman, he looked at me, just like looked me right in the eyes, and I knew. And that's all I can say. I know it sounds weird, but I knew, like we spoke in light speak, like the shaman could speak, and I just understood, you see. And that's what got me on the path of relearning to love myself. Started at the young age, but then over time I would meet more and more Lakota people who would teach me that because I'm not a freak,
Well, that must have been that must have been on a telepathic connection level.
It could have been. The thing is, the other Lakota shaman, like the legitimate medicine men and whatnot that I've talked to, they say, yep, that's how it works. And I ask them, can you explain it? And they're like, no. Thank you. Apparently you're supposed to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, as long as you got the message, that's all that mattered, right?
Yeah. It's like there were volumes and volumes and volumes of information just in that look, So that's what got me started on the shamanistic or medicine, whatever you want to call it. Because Bradley, we had a good point yesterday. The Lakota don't quite call it that by those words, but whatever. We're all talking about the same stuff. So that's what got me on that path. And that's why I learned to love myself. And that's why I learned to love humans. And that's why I learned to love this world, is through their guidance and patience. I was a tool to my family, nothing more. I was an attack dog, So I had a pretty bad outlook on life. And yes, it is true I wanted to kill myself. And yes, it's true that my father was training me to kill every human being on the planet through viruses. That is true. That is, I'm sorry that's true, but it is. So beyond that, I would really like everybody, just like if you have questions, ask them. I get accused of this incubus activity, raping people at night, and there's evidence why that's not me, but we got to talk, you know. So,
David Nash is asking, so you think that's what these shapeshifters are?
well, there's different kinds of shapeshifters, but those guys, that's what those guys are. And given enough time and resources, I can prove all of it. Just right now, I've got the genetic report, and that's just a good foundation. So, is who Native American, David?
I think he's referring to the guy that Candy was talking about, the wings appeared, shadow on the wall.
I can see that. Yeah, so when it comes to Native Americans, by blood, I am Native American, but I know next to nothing about my people's ways. So I just want that, assured. That being said, I do healing services and everything I can do for any Lakota that asks, I do. I serve the tribe. I'm not part of it, though.
Yeah.
Cool. So I hope that clears some stuff up, and I hope that clears up some rumors and whatnot. But the incubus thing, like I don't look like this on the astral plane. And then people will argue and say, well, yeah, but you could just shapeshift yourself on the astral plane. Well, yeah, but why would I shapeshift into myself to do a crime?
Yeah.
Somebody is framing me, and I will get you, motherfucker. I know you're watching. I will find you. I will catch you, and I will gut you like a fucking fish on the astral. Not in real life. In real life, no blood, no blood, no blood. Char made me promise. I was already a pacifist, but then she made me pinky swear anyway. I think she knew that I was probably that I had the possibility of going insaner from grief, and she wanted to head it off.
Yeah.
Next question.
Well, we've nearly done an hour now.
I want to. More time. Everybody vote. More time. More time. Type banana if you want more time. So yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how many type banana here.
So beyond that, beyond the incident with the Native American, the rest of it was training from my father, who utilized a combination of Golden Dawn teachings and Masonic rituals, and that's another rumor that I have to confirm is true. He taught me black magic. I did not know I was using black magic. Shannon taught me that I was using black magic. Shannon and Rob, when I was 16. See, in my mind, it was okay. Kill one person to save 1,000, right? But no, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. And my father poisoned my head with his stuff. So, yeah, it's a constant battle.
Well, Cassie, your son says apple. David Nash says banana. Lisa Ao says banana.
David says peachy.
Yeah, peachy.
Have a grape time. I love you guys. So hopefully that clears some stuff up. Yes, I used to be filled with hate. I let it the fuck go. Long time ago. When I met Shannon, everything made sense. If that makes it was WoW. So let's see. I think I got. Oh yeah, okay. The last bullet point that we really need that I really need to talk to is that the phenomenon of EBEs is known around the world by a lot of names, and I want you guys to know, for those of you who are EBEs, the Western world is having trouble, but the old world is not. But very, very specifically, I want to talk to about the Brahmin, the Hindu Brahmin in India. They know we are here. The name they call us is Deva. Now, if you're sitting there wondering, wait, did you just say you're a god? No, Devas are not gods. What Devas are, and what I am, is someone whose biological body and light body can move independently. That is it. Yes, Shiva was a Deva, but he was a really advanced Deva. We are all just little puppy Devas. You see what I mean?
Nice jacket, Cassidae.
Oh, thank you. We got this at Goodwill. It
Looking
has
quite
a
lucky.
hold on. It has a Native American skull on the back,
Oh,
and
right. Okay.
and it says, "Don't fuck with me, I fuck back,"
Um,
which is true.
Vic Makarov says less ego, more spirit required.
Not sure if you're talking about me or in general, but I agree. Less ego. Now, the thing is, I want to make it very clear. The feline Lyrans, everybody has their flaw, right? Every race, every species, everyone has a cross to bear. Okay, we were vulnerable and still are vulnerable to vanity, just the same as you are vulnerable to wrath. Do you see what I mean? So yeah, ego's a big deal.
One should embrace the ego and not become it.
Granted, but Bradley, could you talk for a second? And I'd like to hear it too. You used to say you said it had an ego problem. I didn't understand. So could you explain, like for the audience and for me? Because you said I've come a long way.
No, overconfident, full of yourself. One should embrace the ego and not become it. Now that's very easy to say, but to actually perform this task is not as easy as it sounds. To embrace the ego and not become it, because the ego can actually help you to forge new paths. But like you had a big ego when I met you, and you have shrunk it right down. You've done really well.
Marianne Clark, this is for you, Bradley. She says, for Bradley Powers, last night you asked about what EVP means. It means electronic voice phenomenon.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Marianne. I don't believe I interpreted it right, so thank you for sharing that.
But yeah, going back to because I want to get through the bullet points before too long. But going back to that, there was even an incident when we were on Char's Make-A-Wish trip to Disney World. A group of Hindu Brahmin came to me and wanted to have a smoke, and I was like, okay, you guys are freaking Brahmins, you can't afford your own smokes, and he goes, no, we just want to have a smoke with you. All right, cool. And I felt compelled to tell them what I do about healing, just in case anybody needed some healing. And they were like, oh no, we know who you are. And I'm like, wait, like you watch my show? Like, no, we know your people are here, we know you're here. And I'm like, so I got that confirmation. So it wasn't just people pulling my leg. I mean, these guys came up out of nowhere. Apparently they could tell, which doesn't surprise me since Sikh doctors know how to treat me, but human doctors don't, or non-Sikh doctors don't. So it's weird. The point is that the other cultures from the old world cultures, they know we're here. They have different words. The Muslims call us jinn, which is not a bad word. It's a neutral word. The point is that even the Catholics have been coming to us because the Catholics have a prophecy. It's their own prophecy that this Pope is the last Pope, that some great catastrophe is going to befall the Catholic Church. So even Catholics know we're here, and they come and ask for things. Like, for example, in my case, what they asked me to do is just over the course of my career, try to heal the rift between Catholics and Native Americans, because they know what they did was wrong. And hey, good step, So it's like all of the old spiritual people, they know we're here. They have different names for us, but it's all the same, Well, I don't see. The thing is, I don't feel any different. It's just the way I put things, I guess. The way I have had very intensive communication therapy, but I still don't know what I was doing wrong. Whatever. We all know I'm a dumbass. That's the important thing. See, the reason why I am here when other more powerful ones aren't here yet is because I'm the smallest. I was able to sneak in. There's nowhere you can keep us out, So the littlest ones come first, and then open the way for the bigger and bigger folks. That's why I keep saying, you guys can do this stuff better than me. Anything I can do, y'all can do better, and most of you will. Well, maybe not most. Many of you will.
Marianne Clark is asking you, Cassidae Lightwing, about what happened. Or she said, ask Cassidae Lightwing about what happened when he visited us on our live.
That was spooky as hell. So we had just started talking to Marianne, and we had accomplished some stuff together. So I went over to her show to see what was going on, but I stayed incognito. Like, they didn't know I was there. I wasn't saying nothing. You couldn't see my name, nothing. And then the EVP just goes, "Lightwing is here," or something like that. And I'm just sitting in my chair, like, I just peed a little. And Marianne goes, Cass? And I'm like, uh-huh. Yeah, she's the real deal. That was scary. Yeah, so definitely. And this is part of what the purpose of Bleeding Violence Studios and the Lion's Pride is all about. Lift people up. You know, there are superheroes amongst us. They just don't want to reveal themselves for a lot of reasons. You know, ego reasons, profit reasons, danger reasons, lots of reasons. The point is that we need to come out now. It's safe now. Many countries are safe. Like if you're in some of those backwards countries that I won't name for political reasons, then yeah, don't come out yet. They'll kill you with sticks and throw you off a building. But if you're pretty much anywhere in the first world, it's safe now. Go ahead, come out. You know, it's time.
In the Global Conspiracy Group forum, this show's being laughed at. Actually, they're saying like, we believe in a globe Earth truth and green aliens, and
Well,
you know how ironic.
Well, we don't believe in a globe Earth. The Earth is not a globe, but it's not a flat pancake either. So, but yeah, that's bullshit. And we don't believe in green aliens. They're gray. Actually, technically, the Alpha Dracos could be green, but y'all know what I mean. And hey, if they don't like it, there's that itchy spot on my ass. All right, I've got the genetic proof. I don't got to take anybody's shit no more. So yeah, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to make you guys laugh. I'm trying to play with the trolls, not be angry at trolls. I found if you make the trolls your buddies, it goes well. Like those guys that would come on the show and tell us that there was a couch for sale, you know, and so we started joking back, and now they watch the show pretty regularly. There's a good way to deal with trolls, and there's a wrong way. The problem is all trolls are individuals, so you never know which way it's going to go.
Marianne Clark says grays are bluish green, I would say.
Fair enough. I won't argue color palettes. We all see what we see. Now I'm just making fun of the little green men thing. Actually, it's I wonder if the Roswell aliens were green, and that's where the little green men thing started. I wonder. If anybody knows where the little green men thing started, type it up.
I think the Roswell incident was associated with the grays.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. What I do know is that my father's grandfather worked on that. He was part of the communication teams. And one of the things I've been finding out is the descendants of the teams that examined and worked on the crash seem to have a very, very high percentage of being like fully awakened and whatnot. Like, I can't tell you how many I've met, but like, say somebody's grandma or whatever worked at Honeywell, you know. And so like all the people that worked on, if you track down their descendants, most of them, their grandkids are like these like indigo or psychic kids. So I'm wondering if the radiation from the Arcturian technology did something to the DNA, you know. My dad never mentioned that part, but he said there were reasons, genetic reasons why he did what he did. So who knows? What do you guys think?
Well, I'm sure it has a certain effect on you know, a biological level.
Yeah.
Well, we know it does. Period. I mean.
Well, yeah, you can see it on a Geiger counter.
Right.
And for those of you who are wondering, so basically, look up any situation where one of the small craft has landed, and one of the pieces of evidence that there was a craft there is this high spikes of certain kinds of radiation. That is the problem. Their radiation is harmful to us. Our radiation is harmful to them. The more
well, yeah, that's obvious. You know, I mean, different levels will cause different reactions.
Right, but that's why they can't just land in Times Square.
Right.
You know, yet.
Vic Makarov says, I heard there was a Palladian among the Greys in the Roswell incident.
That could be. See, the thing is, we don't know who was piloting those Greys. The grays that they found at Roswell were basically biobots. They're just anchor points for consciousness. So I don't know who was piloting. I do know that was Arcturian technology, but I don't know who was flying it. It's like recognizing a car is made by Ford. That doesn't tell you who's driving it.
Right. Marianne Clark says her cat Binks will be featured in the pet calendar in 2023. Just wanted to share that.
Is that Binks like Hocus Pocus? I think the cat in Hocus Pocus was named Binks.
Back Birdie is with us. How you doing, Back?
Donnie asks, aren't they mostly vegan? No. Pleiadians are actually carnivores. The thing is, Pleiadian technology accounts for that, so they don't need to harm a life. They basically just feed on light. Technology gets pretty cool once you get past what the Kardashev scale says is rank 2. So the Pleiadians are carnivores. Lyrans are carnivores. Lyrans are actually strict carnivores, whereas Pleiadians can do some, like fruits and veggies and shit. But again, they have their light technology, so they don't need to kill anything to live.
Back Birdie says radiation is overrated and not as dangerous as you think. Well, I would think that it depends on the level.
Well, the gamma radiation bursts that your bombs release are enough to melt the eyes and tongues out of your species. So, I don't know. Ask the survivors of Hiroshima about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Depends on what level that it's.
No, I think what she was trying to get at, though, is that not all radiation is harmful, which is very true. This visible light, right? That's a form of radiation. I think that's what she was trying to get at. And in which case, yes, absolutely. The trouble is that, okay, like for example, the Nordics, they can survive here because they're the same, genetic phenotype. They came from here originally, right? That's why they can survive here with no problem. Okay, Kitai, my people, we die. We the moment we're born, we have a time limit. The radiation here on Earth interferes with the operation of our nerves. So eventually, it's going to get you. It's going to get us. You know what I mean? But so it's all biological.
David Nash says Linda Moulton Howe shared pictures from a gray from the Roswell crash. It was in an underground lab in Dayton, Ohio. It had a bluish tint. They have a bodysuit that is gray. That's why they look gray, but they aren't.
See,
and their eyes are not real either. They're lenses that cover their eyes.
Well, they have real eyes under that, but the thing is that as far as those pictures go, do we know if that was the color of its skin or was that the quality of the film? I sent a message to Linda Moulton Howe too. I think I met her when I was a kid, but I don't know for sure. It might have been somebody else.
Vic Makarov is asking, are the ETs going to be have a formal landing on Earth soon?
As soon as possible. Like I said, we're working as hard as we can on every level. The thing is,
I will agree with that because I'm getting the same information from the Zetas.
Yeah. Basically, you guys see those like the stone pictures, like from Samaria and whatnot, and all the like the bird guys. They all have this purse. That purse is a device that normalizes the radiation. So if we can get those tuned properly, awesome. The best bet though is again getting to Egypt. That's part of what the Disc of a 10 is for. And if we can get the Disc of a 10 working, then it will normalize the radiation over the whole planet, and mass first contact can begin. Again, it's pretty serious.
Back Birdie says, have you been to Hiroshima? Cass, I suggest you go and see the thriving place.
We should have a conversation sometime, Back Birdie, about all the ways humans are absolutely fucking stupid about science, and that's one of them. But what you're talking about there is nature's ability to digest and metabolize radiation.
Right. The ability to rejuvenate. Yep.
Right. The initial radiation burst was bad. It was enough to melt flesh from bone. Okay. And that's why that part of the Revelations is starting to freak some people out, because it describes almost exactly nuclear fallout. So, again, it's all a matter of the type of radiation. A concentrated gamma radiation burst will melt the flesh off your bones. A concentrated visible light radiation burst will give you a sunburn. So,
David Nash says millions across Europe have died from cancer from Chernobyl.
But yeah.
Chernobyl, yeah.
But yeah, so not all radiation is dangerous, but our species radiations are dangerous to each other. And there's
Right.
proof of that all over the place. I still
There's
want to get a Geiger
no doubt
counter on that
about
tattoo.
that.
Now, if we can ever get a budget, I'm getting a Geiger counter on that tattoo. I'm betting what we'll find is like an ambient beta radiation. I think that's what I'm betting. So Beck says, "Oh, and have you been to Chernobyl recently? It's beautiful. Yeah, eat a mushroom, see what happens. It's pretty, but then again, so is the planet from Avatar.
Beck says exactly, and humans regenerate. Everything within nature regenerates.
Given enough time, yeah. That's part of one of the things that we need to. One of the reasons why I have to build the technology, prove that it works, and then release it to the world for free. The problem is that on that note, the genetic retrovirus that screwed with your guys' heads also messed with the telomeres on your DNA. So number one, you don't live as long, and number two, you don't heal as fast. You know. So yeah, it's a problem. And
Marianne Clark is very deceptive. I mean, receptive.
I was gonna say.
I meant to say receptive. I'm sorry. I was going to say if she could be able to pick up on anything on this tattoo here.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be great.
Maybe you guys could do a special like Ghost House, out of the Ghost House, out of the Ghost Box. There we go. Out of the Ghost Box Productions.
Yeah, that would be a good show. Yeah. I'd be anxious to see what she picks up on it.
Dude, me too. I want to see what they have to say. I'm not completely convinced the entities that talk to her are ghosts. I think she's talking to a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I might be remembering it wrong, but Marianne, weren't you contacted by an alien research group recently, and they wanted to test that? I might be thinking of the wrong thing though. So if that's not you, I apologize. But yeah, so so basically that's all my points that I wanted to make. That we got through everything. Oh, no, plans. We didn't do the plans. Okay, so everything that I'm doing with Bleeding Violence Studios has a long-term goal. For example, the toy store. Fine toys. Come visit us at Hope Happens Toys. So we're doing toys right now, but the end game of that is we want to be able to print organs out of stem cells. And that technology is almost there. So if we can get the company caught up.
Oh, I'm sure that technology, I've seen, this was years ago. This was probably 25 years ago on a news segment where they were growing human ears out of the back of a mouse.
Yeah, I remember that. Whoa. So yeah, the technology is there. We just got to be able to but I don't ever want another child to have to go through this.
And like I said, that was 25 years ago, so you can imagine how advanced that is today.
Yeah. And then once that happens, no more. It'll be a nonprofit. So now the Lion's Pride, what's the end game with that is reforesting the Amazon basin, and as well as certain bands of environment in Africa. Basically, we need to restart the lungs of the planet. You guys will notice every time, like Greta Thunberg, how dare you use oil? You notice Greta Thunberg isn't planting any trees. Okay, so these assholes that are trying to make you suffer for the world to go green, they know what needs to happen. They're just not doing it, and they're adding to the problem. Trees are the solution. Not just trees, believe it or not, hemp, which is why the other business is tying into that, so that we can basically plant hemp and then while we're getting the black soil recreated. And then in Africa, it's even easier. It's just the cost of a few cinder blocks. The situation in Africa, the area will reforest itself if you can catch certain currents of wind. So what they're doing is they're building these horseshoe-shaped structures out of cinder blocks, and that's catching the sand and letting plants regrow. You see? So the end game of all of this is really big shit that we're trying to do. But first, we have to survive the CME. But yeah, that's where the plans are.
Yeah.
So people go, "Oh, I know you've got a sinister plan." Yeah. The creating the black soil is going to look sinister as fuck at first. That's why I won't talk about it. If I can get 5 minutes with Elon Musk, I'll talk about it because he can, but at first that's going to look damn near satanic. But it's not. It's actually a very benevolent thing. But again, at first. And yes, I am planting the seed so that when I finally do tell you guys, it'll be like, oh, that's not so bad.
Well, why would you consider black soil evil though? I mean, I don't.
It's not. It's just about the process by which the ingredients required to make the black soil, the way to get it would seem ghoulish and like human sacrifice and shit, but it's not. The Aztecs and the Mesoamericans use human sacrifice to get what they need, but we don't have to do that. You know what I mean? So at first, it's going to look like we're trying to kill people to get the black soil, and we are not. You see what I mean? So let's just say if we had this up and running, then when that tsunami hit and it killed a whole lot of people, but the biggest problem was there were too many bodies. They couldn't do anything with them. So that bred a lot of disease. If we had this in place then, that would not have been a problem. That's all I'll say. Okay, next question. I think that was it.
So what are you saying essentially there? So what are you saying essentially? So what are you saying essentially with the black soil? You'd have to use cadavers as mulch.
Basically, yeah. Actually, yeah. The putting it that way doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah. See, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay,
it's not like you're going to be going around killing people for it. You know what I mean?
No. So okay, so what we do, the idea is we get some of those old oil barges. They're still there. They're just not in service carrying oil anymore. That gives us plenty of room within the bowels of these barges. We can set up a mulching system, fully organic, that can mimic exactly the way they acquired the black soil back in the day. It's not that it comes from human bodies. That's not it, but that's what it looks like at first. There are certain nutrients in human fat that when fed to the right kind of beetle, then you mulch the beetle and there you get what you get. Then a little bit more you got to do to it, but that's the basic process. So what the barge would do is pull up, and at the top of the barge is all. It's nice. It has like a funerary system. You have a funeral for your loved ones. You say goodbye, just like in a cremation, but instead of cremating it and taking those nutrients away from the biosphere, we're adding them back. Do you see?
Beck is asking. Beck is asking: is the black soil the same as indigenous black soil of the Aboriginals have?
Nope, different black soil. I know what you're talking about, but no, different stuff. Yeah, we need to get a better naming convention in this language. Ray said something. Read that.
Yeah, Raymond B. Lightwing says, Dad, that isn't seen as satanic anymore. There are companies that will turn your body into black soil and they will sell off their soil. They will let you keep a bit of it or all of it.
Like I said, there's a little bit more that turns it into the black soil we need. But Ray is correct. Like you can have your body put into this bulb and then they make a tree out of you. So right. I guess maybe it wasn't so bad. Huh. All right, cool. So like I said, it would be all nice. And then we get a fleet of these barges and, basically they come and people make deliveries and have the funeral. And if there's like a disaster, bring the barges, get the bodies out of there before they make people sick, and then once we prove it works, we can make the whole damn planet a paradise again. But yeah, that's all my points. If there's any questions people have, folks, if it's no matter how hard hitting it is, ask. You know what I mean? If you guys can, like, if somebody can poke a hole in my story, like for example, when we do the hard hitting interview, worst case scenario, I find out I'm a lunatic and I can go back to drawing titties. Okay. So it just, I used to draw hentai and paint miniatures for a living, did real good to put money to. And then my gut exploded, and I was like, oh no. So my family lost everything. But that's what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket. See, now I've like taught my son how to do it, and now we got a thing. So if I get sick again, they've still got it covered. So yeah, so it's like it's a win-win for me. Don't worry about hurting my feelings, folks.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing all your thoughts and feelings and emotions, Cassidae. It's been a pleasure to listen to you.
It's good to finally be heard. There's so many bullshit rumors, and especially like the concentrated harassment campaign from Shelley. Like, she didn't lie to anybody, and that's the scariest part. Is that she just omitted certain facts that made me look even worse. And it's like, I'm already a pretty bad guy. Like, if you want to hate me, pick any number of things I've really done. But that didn't accomplish her goals, you know. So I wanted to clear my name and get it known,
Yeah.
Ascending Link is asking, is it the scarab beetles?
And no, thank God, or we'd be screwed. Now, scarab beetles don't have any place in the process. Scarab beetles feed on waste, not corpses, unlike what the movies would have you believe. But no, it's a kind of beetle it's a kind of beetle that's found in South America. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a big old flesh-eating beetle. Sometimes you can find them in museums when they're getting the flesh off a skeleton, when they're cleaning a skeleton. Same kind of beetles.
Do they bite humans that are alive or just eat cadavers?
Very occasionally, but it's by mistake. So like if they're already eating, like if you have some rotting flesh in your hand, they might go too far and accidentally bite it. So like they're not as careful as, say, maggots. And I'm sorry, I know that's gross. I know that's gross, but
well,
maggots,
they actually use maggots for
yes,
cleaning wounds.
that's exactly where I was going.
To prevent infection. Yeah,
Yeah, because they
they
won't
did
bite.
that. They did that a lot in the Civil War.
Yeah, they still do. From what I understand, the worst part is you could hear them chewing. No, thank you.
Well,
I'll
that's
just
good though.
die.
They're taking all the infection out of there.
Yeah. Well, so the good part about maggots is they're very careful. They will eat no living flesh. The beetles,
Right.
They're not as careful, but they don't bite living people, usually. Now, if you poke them enough, they'd probably bite you. But if you poke me enough, I'll bite you. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, it's a normal reaction, I guess.
Right. Donnie said, I may have issues in my past, but I'm always looking into redemption. Exactly. Redemption is never out of reach. So that's hard to stomach sometimes when somebody's done something like, say, murder your daughter with a concentrated harassment technique. But we must do it. It is, if you walk the path of the Christ consciousness, you must, even if you don't like it. So fine.
Lisa Ayo says the plastic surgeon uses leeches in his practice.
Okay, see, I was already never going to get plastic surgery. Now I'm really never going to get plastic. Oh, maggots in my nose. Oh, my God. Okay, you suck. You made me imagine that. Oh. David says, so gross. I know. Vic's talking about media propaganda. Yeah, that's a really good subject. First thing I want you guys to notice is that the media is saying crazier and crazier things to try to keep you afraid. There is a reason. Okay. Agents of the light, whether they know it or not, whether they're spiritual or not, are at work. Again, what I said, for every crazy bad guy, there's a crazy good guy. You know what I mean? And the further we move away from the year 2012, the more that's going to get. That's just the nature of things. The Hindus call the time period we're in right now that I don't remember what the word, like Hindu word is, but they call it the period of Kali. And the 2012, that moment, that was the apex. It's all down here from there. Things are going to get better and better. We just have to let it. And that's the hardest part. And same thing in therapy. Your therapist can help you if you let them. But if you don't let them, there ain't shit they can do.
Yeah, well, the mainstream news media, that's basically brainwashing. That's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And we could do a whole episode if you guys want to. I'll put it together. We could go through point by point and show you guys the techniques. For you younger people, they actually used to teach us to be on guard for this shit in school. You know what I mean? I don't know about everybody's school, but here in Colorado, well, they had a whole thing. So it's you don't have to give up your favorite TV shows to not get brainwashed. It's literally as easy as being aware. Once you're aware of the technique, your brain filters it out on its own. You don't, it's not a hard, big thing, you know? And that's another thing the media will try to tell you is that to break away from the media is this huge, huge thing. And it's literally not, you know? As anything, since that's a great idea to do. If you guys want me to do it, I'll do it. I'll put together an episode on any subject you want. I'll even play devil's advocate on shit I don't believe in. Because it's an idea that Aristotle thought of, and I'm wondering why it hasn't caught on in the modern age. It is a sign of intelligence, according to the greatest minds on your planet. It is a sign of intelligence to be able to fully entertain a thought without believing in it. You know, so why not just do that?
Yeah, even to contemplate it is,
Yeah,
it opens up possibilities.
right. So it's like not thinking, not allowing thoughts to entertain. Like, for example, back in World War II, we're going to go with the Nazis. And yes, I know I'm in violation of Godwin's law, but it's a perfect example. See, the government wanted everybody to believe that all Nazis, and I understand why they had to do this. I'm not judging. So the government at the time wanted people to believe that all Nazis were baby-eating murderers. In reality, most of them didn't want to be there. They just didn't want to get shot by their own people. Hitler, people forget, Hitler invaded Germany first, you know? So it's,
I think Makarov is suggesting about an episode on galactic history.
I'm not the best person for that, but we could organize. I don't know that much about the Milky Way's history. Again, we got here in 1993. This is my first incarnation in this galaxy. So everything I know is crap I read from books. The Akashic Record, but still. There are, like in the audience even, there are some of you guys that know galactic history way better than I do. So we can organize it, but I won't be the star of that one. Cool.
We'll let Bradley be the authority on that particular episode.
Bradley's not an authority.
What's that?
They're asking for an episode on galactic history.
I know about galactic history. I know about the extraterrestrials and all that. But I would have thought you would know more about that than me, Cassidae.
Probably not. I can ask my guys in Sky Crew, but it's like I just arrived here. So I don't know that much about the Milky Way. And it's a great opportunity for me to say, I don't fucking know.
Beck says intelligence is something to be measured. Wisdom is something gained.
Yeah.
Wise words, Birdie. And I'm going to call you Birdie because there's one of my favorite comic book characters was named Birdie. So you're not Beck to me, you're Birdie. And for those of you who are wondering, Birdie was a psychic, and her ability wasn't like the big powerful psychic stuff. All she could really do was give Sabretooth enough calmness to not be in the eternal bloodlust. And Beck, you kind of do that for me. You kind of keep me grounded. You don't take my shit. So you're Birdie.
David Nash says, you mean he brought Germany together? They were poor and starving prior. Ripe time for a savior.
Yeah, I'm going to say no on that one because you're right. It was the right time for a savior. But the fact is that Hitler and his guys had to do a false flag tragedy to gain power. If they were the right saviors, if they were the true saviors of Germany, they wouldn't have needed to do that. But you're right.
Donnie Randall is asking, what do you know about blood types? Mine is O positive.
Not much. I mean, I could get into the biology, but I can't remember which one is which, So I could get into why the different blood types are, but beyond that. I understand there's a theory that type O negatives and type B positives are related to the Anunnaki. I don't know if that's true. We need more data, more science. Beck says, do you really want to know the history, even if you're the bad guy? Yeah. The fact is, we were the bad guy. I've apologized for this many times, and I'll do it again. My people chased your people out of the trees by hunting you. Even your own paleontologists will admit the first iteration of felines on this planet had a tooth that specifically, if you touch the back of your head, you'll notice there's a little ridge back there. We had a tooth that was specifically for that ridge. I've apologized for this. We're really sorry, but you had to get out of the trees. But that's also what I mean when I say we've put in our time on this planet in the deep past. So we are not the eternal good guys by any stretch of the imagination. We are apex predatory felines. There are plenty that consider us the bad guy.
So how many times do you think that your people have visited this planet, throughout history?
I don't know for sure. I know that the wisest of us, if you ask the other star seeds, they'll back me up on this one. There was a group of us, like the wisest of us. We call them the ancients. They went back to the past to become like the saber-toothed tigers and shit. And obviously that's not me, so I don't know. These were the people that taught me. So it's like, I don't know. I hope that's true because we don't know
You're
where
the
they
lion,
are.
you're the lion, not the tiger.
Yeah, the funny thing is my species back home was closer to a cheetah. I got to
Oh, yeah.
upgrade on Earth, so I know I did something right, just not exactly right. Or maybe I did the exact right thing, and this whole idea was planned. I've had a medicine man once say that the whole reason I was picked for this part of the mission is because stab me all you want, I'll get better. You will get tired before I get dead, and then it's my turn, and I'll be like teaching you a lesson instead of hitting you back. So it's that's what they said. So that particular medicine man or medicine woman actually believed that this was not an accident. I hope that's true. That would be nice. But I can tell you, basically, when we arrived in 1993, the first thing that happened was a concentrated plasma burst emanated from your planet, the northern hemisphere, and blew a giant chunk of us away. It went boom right through, and everybody who was caught in that blast died. Now the thing is most of them were like, "Yay, we get to be human now!" And they were happy. So this is not a bad event. No hard feelings. Okay. Unfortunately, my sphere was not consumed in the blast. It was blown out, and basically I chickened out. Rather than face the maelstrom, I found a willing human mother, and I said, "Can I be there now?" And she said, "Yes." So that's why my mom is a hero. She doesn't remember the waiting room, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? The place where mothers and children's souls meet and decide who's going to go with who. She remembers that the waiting room exists, but she doesn't remember what happened there. I remember it like it was yesterday because it saved my fucking life. Now, the maelstrom is what the maelstrom is. It's sort of like the poop chute. The vortex that's created by gravity in space. The maelstrom is the ass end of that. And it's the last stage. It boots you out into null space outside of the sphere of the source. So yeah, you're damn right I chickened out. But yeah, we were supposed to die, and that's not a bad thing. It is not. It's okay. I
Death is
chickened
a
out.
new beginning, right? Death is a new
Exactly.
beginning. Yeah.
Exactly. And when you can start to see the radiations and energy flows of the universe, worries like death go away. I'm not afraid of death. I get to go see Shar. And besides that, there's the Star Wars factor. If you kill me, you will make me more powerful than you could possibly imagine. I'm kind of looking forward to it so I can get to work for real.
Yeah. Nature is a never-ending recycling process.
You might say it's a never-ending story. But yeah, no, but you're right. That's what nature's all about. And that's why that's the cycle. The wolf eats the rabbit soul becomes the wolf, and then the cycle continues until the soul decides, I'm tired of doing this. I want to level up.
Yeah, nature has a way of creating, producing, sustaining, destroying, and rejuvenating itself.
Right. And that's why animals, like, have you ever seen an animal that's been like being like hunted? There's a moment where they'll sometimes, not all the time, where they can lay down and accept death. That's out of character for what humans know animals to be capable of, right? The thing is, all animals know death is just a minute. right? It's not the death they're afraid of. It's the pain.
Right. Yeah, it's the trauma associated with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you stop to think about it, birth itself was traumatic. You may not have a vivid recollection of it, but I'm sure there's trauma involved during the birth process as well.
Oh yeah, life and birth and death are both very traumatic. The thing is death can be more traumatic depending on how you die. That's why last rites are so important. Now, Birdie has a
Right.
really interesting comment. She
Well,
says, "I just
what would be what's tough is the suffering part. If one has to suffer.
yeah, I begged for death when this happened. When the gut, oh God, I can advise against being disemboweled. I don't recommend it. Don't order that at a restaurant." But Birdie says, "I disagree. Life is real. You choose to live it in a matrix." Exactly the point. That's like the primary point. Everyone here, if you know you have a name, you chose to be in the matrix. I'm not saying that I fucked up getting into the matrix. I'm saying I fucked up my entry to Earth. This is not the real Earth, though. So yeah, exactly.
Backpack says now this I can agree with. Life is existing all at once. We are choosing how to put it together in our mind.
Exactly. Which is how I can be 44 years old, and we arrived in 1993. And if we arrived in 1993, how are we also saber-toothed tigers? Time is a field, not a stream or a particle. Time is irrelevant, man.
Yeah, technically, all we ever have is the here and now, the moment, right?
Well, yes, and that part is true, and but that's an aspect of physics. And once you can get past that, your mind can get out of the whole thing. The eternal now is created by the axiomatic point where gravity and space meet. There we go. That's now, right?
Right.
Like the point where they meet, the axiomatic point, because they meet at a lot of different stages, but the axiomatic point, like imagine a Venn diagram, the two circles, right? The
Right.
point where they meet, that middle part, that's time. That's
Right.
now, and then right in the middle of that field would be right now.
Right.
The thing is, and the weird thing is while biologicals are evolved to perceive time in a linear fashion, right? Like A, B, C, D, E. The fucked up thing is, none of us can actually detect now. By the time now, like when now happens, by the time we realize it's now is the time it takes for the stimulus to register to the brain. You see what I mean?
Well, it's fleeting. Yeah, it's fleeting.
Yeah. So you can't ever quite get to now because you still have to rely on the biological function. So it's funny, even right now, we're in the past. Right now.
Right.
Even right now.
Exactly. Right.
So, and then once these things are examined, your scientists will discover that the further back you get in time, the more malleable it gets. It doesn't exactly like stay this way for all of the past. That's why, for example, they're finding like stopwatches in billion-year-old fossils. You know what I mean? The further you get in the past, the more varied it gets.
Backpack says Dolores said it best. The only species in the universe that measures something that does not exist.
Yeah, we don't bother with it back home. We just live now, which is why we're so happy. We just don't worry about it. But then again, we understand death. Back home on Malaqua, death was literally just a hiccup. Like, for example, if something happened between two Katai that was unsolvable, you could not solve it with diplomacy. Yeah, we'd fight it out, and yes, one of us would die. But a couple of years later, the person who won that duel gets a little kid walking up to him like, "I'm gonna get you. Ah, it's you. Hey, little buddy. All right, I'll see you soon." You're allowed to have that childhood again. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful process if you stop fearing it.
Right.
So, yeah, Dolores Cannon was a good people. Vic says death is the beginning of a new life. Exactly. Never fear death. Be ready for it, but don't be afraid of it. And I'm going to move the camera so I can blow my nose because these extra sinuses make a lot of snot. I'll be right back.
Still with us, Bradley?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So you're back home now?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm at home now. Yeah. I'm at home now till Wednesday next week.
I kind of figured that out. I didn't see the rebel flag up there in the background.
Yeah. No.
It's not a rebel flag. It's a flag commemorating the rebel flag. I know my flags.
General Lee.
The General Lee, as Bradley says.
Right, but look in the middle. There's a little part right in the middle where the things X off, or where it talks about it. It's a flag commemorating the flag and in honor of it. All I got to say about the subject is yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reasonable facsimile.
Yeah, everybody knows what it means. All right, I'm back. But see, like that's one of the things that I want to get across to you guys. I was like, for every advantage I have a disadvantage. You know, it's like I can smell way more than you guys can smell, but the extra sinuses, like when I get a cold, is bad. You know. So yeah, but those are real, by the way.
Especially if you have more than we do, and they all get blocked at once.
Yeah. No, I think I have 4 extra sinus chambers, 4 or 5 extra sinus chambers. I can't remember how many. We need to get it. But that's one of the reasons why I tried to contact Dr. Greer. Dr. Greer can get an X-ray done and look at the X-ray and see for himself that under the skin, I am not one of you.
Well, that's like Valiant Thor. Didn't he supposedly have one enlarged lung rather than 2?
Yeah, he had a bunch of biological differences that he let them examine. The same thing. Like I've told you guys before, I work with Valiant Thor. Yeah, he's a hero. Yeah, he's like the guy. He's like employee of the year kind of thing. He's the guy we all want to be like.
From what I understand, he's been here for quite a while, hasn't he?
Supposedly he's still here, which I could believe that because he was an EBE like me. He didn't actually land in that ship. They made a ship. They made it make a lot of whistles and bells and sounds and smokes, but it didn't actually land. So he could still be here. Rumor has it he's still alive and living in Malibu, California, but I don't know. But yeah, he's like, as disclosure happens, it's going to come out that over the period of the last 100 years, there have been dozens, if not hundreds, of incidences where someone has come forward claiming to be like me and like Valiant Thor that just couldn't get any traction. They couldn't get anywhere. So what they'll do is they'll try for about 30 years and then they'll just sort of disappear. They'll move out into the woods or whatever and then only maintain contact with their true friends. You know, so as disclosure happens, you're going to be getting these like old geezers and whatnot saying, yeah, I knew a guy who was an alien and I believed him. He said he was an alien and I didn't believe him, but then he healed my dog, you know, or something like that. So, but just Valiant Thor was the most successful of us. He's what we all aspired to be. He's what we try to be, you know, but none of us were assigned to the president.
Well, his main purpose was to work with the government, right?
Right. We all have a purpose. My purpose specifically is to work with the populace in general. Like there's some of us are working with Elon Musk. There's some of us working in China. We're all over the place. Just my job is this. And the reason why I got saddled with it is because of my talent with life energies. So, all right, here we are. Can I be the leader in charge of video games? Can I do that? I vote for that. Like, you know. Now, honestly, I'm grateful for my mission. I love humans very, very, very much. I never hated you guys. I hated me, and I hated the suffering you're going through. But I love it here. Like the grass under your feet, baby's breath. Like what is that that song? These are a few of my favorite things. When the whip snaps, when the sword cracks, when you're killing Draco. No, we want peace with the Draco. It sucks that they killed our mother, but the ones that did that are going to pay. But we don't blame the whole species. You see what I mean? That's one of the advantages of being a blue light entity, is you can see the difference. Bertie says, in my world, I was trained with dragon vision, big responsibility. Yeah, we didn't have dragons back on Malaqua. Like, we understood about dragons. Like, there's dragons in space and shit, like in the galactic community, but we didn't have them on the planet. So I wouldn't know. Well, you guys are asking a lot of stuff I don't know about. Thank you. Thank you guys for giving me a chance to say I don't know. I hate looking like Brainy Smurf.
We are coming near the hour, so is there anything you'd like to cover, Cassidae, that you know?
Just a little bit of self-promotion.
Yeah, we're coming to the top of the hour.
Am I allowed to do a little bit of self-promotion? Because I've discovered that we need money to make the mission work. Like, I can't plant trees without buying seeds. I screwed up a little bit in my plan. Okay, so basically, all right, so I told you guys a little bit about Bleeding Violence Studios and what we do. Please visit bleedingviolencestudios.com for more information. The site is not quite complete yet. Our project section, that'll be filled up soon, because we had to, figure out exactly what we're doing. So we do a lot of things. Number one, the first thing I want to emphasize is decursing, healing magic, all of that. We offer that stuff for free. You are welcome to go to a reputable light worker or quantum healer or whatever that charges if you want to. I don't blame you. Some of those guys are better skilled than me, but Jim, I think, beats them all. I just gotta say, I like Jim.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, whatever you need my help, I'll be there.
Well, that's the point. That's the whole pride. We all work together. So whatever you need, we got you covered. The whole point is, the reason why we don't ask for money is because the point of our mission is to prove you don't need money.
Well, I don't either. You know that.
I know. Well, that's why I said we.
Yeah.
So now, again, don't feel judged. If you're out there and this is your living, more power to you. I'll advertise you, but that's just not my path. But it doesn't mean I think your path is bad or lesser or anything like that. Okay. So yeah, that's what that's for. Now to fund it all, again, we have the toy store. Check out Hope Happens on Etsy Toys. And yeah, that's basically it. Last thing I would say, if anybody wants to donate to help keep the lights on and the cameras running, it would be good. We're almost at the end of our financial troubles. On the 18th, we'll be in the green, but we're still struggling to make it to then. So I'm forced to accept donations. I don't like it because, as you longtime viewers know, I used to beg openly on the show for the money to survive because we were homeless. I don't want to ever go back to that. I didn't want to ever do that in the first place. That hurt that hurt. So if you want to donate, awesome, it's there. Also, buy a toy. You don't have to donate. Buy a toy. See, look at this. Xenomorph My Little Pony. We got some cool shit. Yeah, we're not converting our art to figures yet. We're working on it. We're having trouble with the software. But until then, I figured out that what you can do on Earth is hire another artist. Who knew, right? So I just hired some artists, and so they're making the toys. Once we get the conversion process, we'll be making, And what the reason why I want to talk about that one on this show is for all of you Starseeds. One of the things that was commissioned by a Starseed, and why we're doing this, is she wants a board game that can represent the hyperspace wars, but with vampires and werewolves and stuff too. She came to the right guy, but she wants it so that the sleepers can play the game and learn what's going on, even if they don't know they're learning. So if you guys are interested in helping that, check out the store. We've got Lyrans, we've got Dracos. We're working on, by the time we're done, we'll have every known species. And then if some of you guys know one that we don't, we'll make them. Ha ha ha.
So what do you use to make those, Cassidy? It was a 3D printer?
Yeah, basically we sculpt them out of computer clay in programs like ZBrush, and then we convert them into an STL file and then print them out. And that's what this one is. We have an extremely high quality printer that thanks to Susie and Katie, so we're basically top of the line. A brand new printer just came out. We're going to try to get it, and that's an 8K printer. This thing, it prints in 4K. And that's the big difference. We can get roughly the same quality as the big time like Games Workshop and stuff. So that's a pretty big deal. Most of the freelance 3D printers can't manage what we can manage. But That's the advantage of being educated out of town. So we not only do we have the right printer, but we've also come up with a formula for resin that is extremely strong. We had Ray's way stronger than me. He actually bounced a gene stealer off the floor as hard as he could, and it did not break. That's a good question. Jim?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I never really correlated that in my own mind as far as observing it. No,
Could you
not
start
to my
checking for
knowledge.
us?
Not to my knowledge. Huh?
Would it be too much trouble to start checking for us?
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well, like I said, with Diedrich Hilton, they're one of the top investigators with MUFON. I'm going to get some connections, to be able to get, either a dermatologist or some kind of, chemical engineer or whatever to inspect the tattoo, take some skin samples, see
Yeah,
what lies underneath there.
Mr. Daedric's a really good guy, but I cannot shake the Skyrim connection. Next time I talk to him, I'm going to tease him a little bit. I can't help it. We've talked before. Me and Mr. Daedric have talked before. We it's all cool. So I'm comfortable going and talking with him. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think he's the one that should actually, as you put it, interrogate you on one of the shows.
I still want Eldon to at least be part of it.
Well, yeah, he can join, sure.
Yeah, I trust Eldon. Eldon's taught me a lot about how shit works here. So, yeah, like I said, I think that covers it all. Birdie wants to suggest that they branded you.
Yeah,
I don't know about that because it changes.
I take it as a brand. It also morphs, as I've showed you with side-by-side pictures. And I also believe it acts as like a receiver and transmitter where I can receive telepathic, information from the Zetas themselves.
That part I can believe because the artwork on it is showing a weird kind of energy, and I don't quite know what I'm looking at when I see it.
And you've also seen the side-by-side pictures of how it morphs, right?
Yeah, biologically speaking, I don't know how that can happen. Somebody could accuse you of, well, you just changed the tattoo.
Well, no, because
then there would be red skin.
Right, and not only that, it would look, like a newer spot versus, one that's been there for a while. And there's there's dark in areas here where white appeared afterwards, and you can't put white on dark ink.
Right. And I maybe a tattoo person out there could shed some light on that one, but it looks impossible to me. But the thing that got me the most, that really solidified for me, was basically you showed me like the next day, like when it like you woke up and took a picture right after it had changed. So there would be blood, there would be marks, there would be something if you had it you had it tattooed.
Right. Well, like I said, it healed within 3 days.
Yeah, and that's
and when it healed, it peeled like a sunburn. You know what I mean?
Birdie says, "Okay, I'm just going to say you're a soldier that was dormant up till a point when you were needed." Do you mean him or me? Because that's an important distinction. Very different answers.
Well, David's asking, do I have pictures from when you first got it? I can show it to you quick here if I can find it. Hold on 1 second.
Good question.
I'll share.
See, that's another thing. You guys know what questions to ask. So Beck, who do you mean? You're talking about me or Jim? Because again, very different answers. Jim. Okay, fair enough. So she thinks you're a soldier. I don't know. I can see that maybe. I was gonna say, if you mean me, there's no activating. I've been activated. I spent every night fighting your goddamn way. You see me now, a veteran of 1,000 psychic wars. What do you think about that, Jim? They could activate you and go into a combat?
Probably. Let me.
I don't know if Zetas do that. I know we do that sometimes, but only when people ask for it.
Okay, here is.
Yeah, you guys will note. You'll notice the bone structure of the face itself is changed a little bit. I want you guys to see
now look at the sun here, right? See how it's higher on the right side? You go, the sun looks lower
Yeah.
on the left, higher on the right.
Yeah.
All this area here, yes, it could have been filled in afterwards, but it wasn't. Now up in
Yeah.
here, the top left, all dark ink, right?
Right.
Now you look at the one on the right, you see white in there, see it?
Yeah. Especially and that's one of the things I've always wanted to get into, but we've never really had time because we've been scrabbling to survive. But you guys notice the stars in the upper right, in the before and after pictures. Specific stars are lit up in specific ways. I don't think that's an accident. I think that's something. I think that's a message. But I don't have a whole lot of interaction with zetas.
Yeah, I also think that crop circles, when they appear, there's messages there that could be.
Oh yeah, the real ones, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
if you know how to read the right language, you could read them. I do not, but I know people who claim to, and they got pretty good evidence, so I believe them.
Well, they say signs, symbols, and sigils are the language of the gods.
Birdie says, "Did I say soldier of combat? No, it's regal duties. I'm gonna need some explanation. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. So please explain." Now keep in mind, folks, back home, like our royalties, like my father, didn't have like guards. Okay, if you're a king, you need to be able to defend your crown, king, queen, whatever. So it's a sign of weakness to us that your royalties need guards. That's like why would you ever follow someone that needs a guard? But then again, then I've learned humans don't. So that was an old point of view. I have grown. I didn't realize how fragile you guys were. Like, for example, tendons. Some of you were watching live the day I learned that you guys don't heal your tendons. So okay, fair enough.
David Nash says, and Jim, if you find more light, it's very dark. Well, I showed you the difference in the pictures, but I will show you the tattoo itself. It's right here.
Yeah, and you'll notice, folks, if you look at the eyes, it's changed again. Jim, did you even notice?
Yeah, like I said, it morphs with time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying, did you notice that it's had another change?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. The eyes are doing something else. Huh. Okay. Bertie says he's a protector of regal standards and lines. Okay. All right. I know what you're talking about. Although I wouldn't. Okay. Whoa. Okay. I think I get what. All right. Okay. I think she was saying you were a sleeper until then, and then they activated you, and now you're on the path, and why you're a healer and a protector. Is that
right.
Getting close, Bertie?
Yeah, that would just about surmise what it is. Yeah,
because I would agree with that too. Just from and he was a cop before this happened. Cassidae, I thought you said you hate cops. Yeah, but that was before I learned my dad was the bad guy. My dad was the robber. So. And just in case you guys are wondering, yes, I did say I'm a child of King Macaw. That does not make me a princess or royalty of any kind. We have a very different standard, okay? If your dad was a king, doesn't matter. You still have to make your own way. So just because my father was Macaw doesn't make me anything. You see what I mean? I'm still bottom of the damn barrel.
David Nash says, I can't quite make out what's on the bottom of the tattoo. Yeah, it's an outdoor scene. You notice it's like a tree line.
Yeah, it's like a road heading to the sunrise or sunset.
And that's where you see the sun right there.
Right. And if you guys will...
Well, that could be the moon. I don't know.
Could you throw the picture up again? Because I noticed something new this time I hadn't noticed before.
All right, hold on.
Oh, and yeah, this is a thinky face, not angry face. I know they look the same. I'm practicing my eyebrows. Give me a break.
There you go.
Okay, so now, folks, is it just me, or do the central major points make up a chakral line? Am I just seeing shit? Or what? Do you guys see that too? If I'm correct, that could give us a clue as to the meaning of the tattoo. It could be beckoning you to follow into your spirit, like start at the red chakra and go up. And not just you, Jim. I mean, anybody who sees it. It's, it could be like a beckoning.
Right.
I mean, okay, are you guys seeing this too, or is it just my imagination? Because remember, I'm blind. I'm legally blind. So if I could be wrong. Don't kiss my butt and tell me it's raining. Just truth. Do you guys see it or not? Yeah, Ray says it does. Now that I pointed out. Yeah, Yeah, exactly, David. I don't understand why it would be an outdoor scene either, unless the point is to emphasize that it's a road. Because I mean, that's definitely a street. You can even see the little yellow.
Right. Right. Yeah, that is like a roadway. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it looks like a little bit like Colorado, if I do say so myself. And that's not me doing an impression of a Cockney. That's me doing an impression of Dick Van Dyke doing an impression of a Cockney. Beck says it's a broadcast. I can see that. Good luck, Elisa. Have a good day. Be safe. Say, I don't understand either. But then again, Zetas, from what I do understand, and Jim, back me up, this could just be like bullshit, right? From what I understand, the Zetas are actually humans from way in the future. Is that true?
Well, I believe they do have a connection. They probably were human at one time, biologically. But from what I understand now, what they are all clones, basically of each other, who feel
Sounds
no
dreadful.
emotion. Yeah, they feel no emotion or anything like that. They're more like scouts now.
Good.
And from what I understand, they're looking out for our own welfare. So
that part I agree with. There was a conflict with the Zetas for a while, but it all got smoothed over. I mean, I believe you had a hand in that, Jim, but I could just be wrong and like hero worshiping. Because you fix my belly sometimes.
yeah, I got you.
Vic says, sorry, I think it's branding. That could be, but that's the whole point, Vic, is that's why we do the shows. We don't want you to believe us. We want to stimulate your imagination. And, so who knows? Again, I got no information about Zetas beyond,
All we can do is relay the information we have, and then you guys just take it from there.
Right. Bertie says, okay, essentially, what do humans get tattoos for? Definition of tattoo. I don't know. All I know is that the needles hurt and I'm a wuss. Shannon has tattoos, but not me. I mean, they like come near me with a needle and I'm like, ah! I haven't even touched you yet. It already hurts. Which sucks because I wanted to be a tattoo artist, and that I don't think that works. That's like a cook that won't eat his own food. I know there are like cultural reasons, spiritually cultural reasons for a lot of different cultures, but I couldn't necessarily tell you exactly what. The only ones that I could come closest to a real explanation are the Maori tattoos, and what they do is basically it's a record of who they are and their deeds. Not quite like Maui from Moana, but similar idea.
David Nash is saying you can't get all those colors out of a branding. It's perfectly tatted. A tattoo like that would take many hours.
Oh,
yeah, my lost time was about 5 hours that night.
Yeah, David, I don't think he meant like it's a branding like. I think it's like I think he's saying colloquially like they branded him, not like they cut a hot iron. Which, by the way, just in case anybody's wondering, go ahead and try that with a Lyran. See what happens. You put a hot piece of metal towards us, it's going up some.
Yeah, personally, I think it was some kind of laser technique that they used. By the way it healed, the way it boiled up and peeled like a sunburn when it healed. It was more like a burn.
That actually makes sense with what I know of certain technologies. That makes sense. Bradley, are you asleep? I think Bradley fell asleep.
Boy, we must be boring.
Am I that boring?
Yeah, we must be very boring. Bradley's snoring over there. Yeah, we're way over the top of the second hour, so I guess we're going to close the show. Bradley's got to get his winks.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for giving me this chance to sort of set the record straight and clear my name. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
All this drama drama's not for free, folks. And basically all this drama prevented us from getting a team to Egypt. And now the whole world's kind of paying the price. So it needs to stop, and not just the drama with us, all of it. We all need to just forgive, move on, and figure out how to survive tomorrow.
Yeah, the
Not
bottom
like
line
literally
is we're
tomorrow, but you know what I mean.
right. The bottom line is we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even the Dracos that are here, they're stuck here too.
Yep.
Yeah, like the
All right,
Dalai Lama
everybody.
said, we
Thanks
are
for
all
joining
human.
us. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you all on the next one.
Yeah, tomorrow esoteric hours, 5 p.m. Eastern time, isn't it, Jim? Or is
Yep.
it 6 p.m.?
5 p.m.
5
p.m. Eastern.
time.
Yep.
Esoteric hours tomorrow. Okay, thank
All
you.
right, catch you on the next one.